How y'all doing? I hope you're well. Someone is pushing against the wall. Now, when I say pushing against the wall, I mean there's something I believe to be solid and immutable. Immutable. Can't be moved. I hope that's really what immutable means, because if it doesn't, I have to do this tape all over again. No. Anyway, there is this sense of can't be happy that I've been working through. I mean, I can find joy here and there, but there's a place for happy that is behind a wall that I thought I could never breach. If you don't stop fighting. No, I don't want you over here. Just stop fighting. I could never breach, but now I think I can breach it because somebody asked me a question that made me question the way I manage my own situation. Here's the question. I'm struggling with a deep sense of loss over never having the kind of mother-daughter relationship. If you two don't stop, you're going to get put out. I'm struggling with a deep sense of loss over never having the kind of mother-daughter relationship I always longed for. Growing up, I didn't fully realize what I was missing. In my 20s, it hit me harder. I had a loving grandmother at first 13 years, but after she passed, nothing. My biological mother's been in my life. I've got sisters, I think. I understand she was raising 4 kids, so I don't fully blame her, but I still wish she would have been there for me in a deeper way. Now, after years of figuring out life on my own, I feel emotionally burnt out. Sometimes I find myself asking God why he gave me parents who weren't ready to nurture their kids. Everything else in my life is going well, but this wound I can't seem to heal. Now, at first, my response to her was going to be this. The same response to I gave that other young lady. You are not responsible. There's nothing you can do about the chapters of your book that have been written by others. Your parents, your mother, your father, your uncles, whomever was in your life when you were too young to do anything about it. And that's what that is. And if you look at it that way, and you take what happened to you, find out what you didn't get, find out what you feel a mother should have given you, and find other ways to get that on your own. Or find ways to fill those holes. It's like you got 2 dogs, resentment, and you got educated opportunity. Now, resentment, you just feed him every day. Why didn't I get it? Why didn't God give me this? Why didn't God give me this? Why didn't God give me this? And my mother would have said, well, no, I'm not going to say that. God may not have given you this, but he didn't give you that, which that person has, and you wouldn't want that, would you? My mother never liked that why didn't God give me question. She didn't put up with it. Because, as much as you didn't get, somebody didn't get a whole lot more. But anyway, that was my first impression, was that you're feeding the dog of resentment. And resentment gets bigger and bigger and bigger, but it never goes anywhere. It's got no motivation. It can't. It's in the past. It just gets bigger. And then it fills up the room, and then you can't see anything. Then you got educated opportunity over here. You say you missed some things that you should have gotten from your mother. Maybe you should read some books on mothering, what it is and you didn't get. A therapist, what it is and you didn't get. Or maybe decide this. I didn't get these things, I got those things, and therefore I'm going to learn these things. Give the dog an educated opportunity a chance. Make an effort, and maybe and it might be such a large concept in your head that your absence of your mother's being completely and utterly present is at the base of all the problems. Maybe not. Maybe there's some, maybe there's a little. You got the mother that you got, but you got all the fight in the world that you want left. You've got sisters, you've got friends. There are ways to date. Stop it, or I'm going to put you out. 9 plus. And as I was formulating that answer for that woman, I thought to myself, you are feeding the dog not resentment, but dismay, or just the dog that can't move. I was like, okay, I had Happy for 34 years, and now there's this wall there. I can manage, I can function. The lights and the sirens have stopped, but I can't get past this wall because he's gone. And I was making the same error that she was making in determining what's practical or what's available. So I'm pushing against a wall now, and I'm pushing against that wall. Let's push. And, thank you, 100,000. I love that. And now we're going to do different groups. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to have my son help me with one group for widows who like to talk about these things. And so we don't get the people that don't like that don't have to come along, and maybe a room for me and my 20-year-olds who are looking for, we're going to figure that out. But that's what we're going to do. So you with your resentment for your mother and me with my missing my man, we can do better. We're going to push against the wall. I'm going to push against the wall. First of all, I am not going to accept the core belief that because he's not here, I will never be happy again. And you cannot accept the core belief that because she didn't give you what you needed, you'll never be able to get it. You can't get it somewhere else, or somewhere maybe you don't get it at all, but you get something else. It's always, but I'm pushing against the wall. Don't know what to do. But I did start leaving the house more. I'll tell you what happened. I left the house, went to the grocery store, and in the parking lot. And the parking lot is where all the drama happens for me, because the parking lot is where the car is. I don't like to drive, so I'm nervous when I'm in a parking lot. And then I'm out of the house, which makes me nervous about being I'm just a wild one. So anyway, I'm in this parking lot, and I get out. And first thing I see is this cat that door dashes me a lot. Because I'm always calling. The store's right up the block, but I won't leave the house. So the DoorDash guy was there. And I guess he was dashing for somebody else. He said, hey, I dashed for you. And he said, yeah. And he said, I know who you are. I didn't say anything. And I told my mother, and she didn't believe me. I ran into you. And I said, come over here. Let's call your mama. I said, well, no. I said, where's your mama living? He said, New York, I think. I said, well, is she up? Why are my earphones connected? Can you still hear me? Oh, no. Can you still hear me? I guess so. I don't know. I don't know how nothing works. Things just sync up on you, and you just never know. But anyway, so I said, let's call her. She was in New York, and it took a while for her. She kept ringing and ringing. I said, I don't think she's home. Yeah, she's home. It was like she had a rag on her head and everything. She popped her head out of the bed, and she had to adjust. I said, this is Judge Toller. And what are you doing? And we had a ball. We had a good time, laughed. I told her how handsome her son was and all this kind of stuff. And we had a good time. That's one of my favorite things to do because it's such a kick for them. It's just such a kick. And it's a kick for me. Hey, stop. Go. And so that's me pushing against joy. So part of that has to be going out of the house more. So I'm going to join some groups. I don't know why. I did that before when he first passed, but I think I wasn't ready then. So maybe I'm ready now. I don't know. Cyril wants to know why I did not take it. Hey! wants to take, did I take Big E's last name or no? I already had a name, didn't need another one. I didn't even understand. I mean, I know why society does it. I get it. I understand it. Wasn't for me, so didn't do it. Oh, there's one last thing I want to tell you about. Oh, and I hope I have it. Oh, God, I'm such a klutz. Oh, here it is. Wait a minute. Somebody reached out to me looking for, there's a YouTuber named Brewstew Films. I just butchered that. And he asked me, he wanted to see an episode, find an episode, I think, of season 7 or 8 of Divorce Court, where it was called the Paris Hilton of Toledo. Apparently everybody's looking for it. So I went over to the Brewstew Films, and I put the click where they started talking about that episode, and the first thing they said was, what a tacky, lowbrow show Divorce Court was. Hey! And I had to fall out laughing, because that is the first thing my mother told me when I told her I was going to take the job. I was afraid to tell her because she thought I should be a Supreme Court justice, which, oh Lord, goodness gracious. And then I took the job. I had taken one other job, power of attorney, and she was mad about that, but the show didn't last long, and she was happy about it, so I can go back and be a normal person. And then Divorce Court came along, and I told my children, don't tell your grandmother anything, and I went out there and I got the job, and it was coming on the internet that I got the job, and she's taking over, and then she says, you better call your mother and tell her you're going to go back on TV. And I said, my mom's never on the internet. Now, this is my bright thinking, right? And so she says, yeah, but she's got friends who are, and the news outlets pick it up. It's going to be on the news in the paper. It's going to especially be in Columbus, Ohio, because you're a hometown girl. She will know. You must call her. And I was a grown woman. We used to put people in jail and everything. And I was so scared. I called my sister, who was a neurologist, got her out of an appointment, and said, look, you need to call Mommy and tell her I've done it again, because I'm not brave enough. So, y'all, I looked into my personal stash. I ain't got the show. I'm going to call somebody at Divorce Court. I don't know if they have it either, because different companies did different subsidiaries, but I'll call and ask. And I'll see if I can find it for you, because I like to be helpful. Hey, I got no illusions of grandeur. I knew that show was voyeuristic and funny, but let me tell you something else. I always had my dignity parachute at the end. I tried to tell them people something that they, the audience, and the rest of the world could improve their lives at the end of the show, even after we all would talk about the drama and the torn clothes and the situation pics and all that kind of stuff, which was funny. And I've gotten enough DMs, think that my dignity parachute has up somebody, but even if it hasn't been, that was some fun work, and I enjoyed it. So I will do my part and look for that episode. But who knows? But anyway, if you have a question for me, you click down here on the LinkedIn. It has my books. Ask Judge Lynn a question. So if you want to ask me a question, and I'm going to start the little membership thing, so we can have small groups to talk about, things that other people just annoyed at. One, me talking about my husband still. It really seems to grace people. I just think that I don't get it. You know what I mean? They say women aren't, you're supposed to this, you're supposed to that, and I love him forever. Now you're mad at me for that. But anyway, all right. Listen, y'all have a good day. And I'm going to try to have a good day. And I'm going to say my sadness is no longer immutable. Declaring it. They said, no, I don't dare nobody on the internet because y'all scare me. Y'all take care. Bye.